Okay, welcome everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. So my name is Kirsten Kippen. I'm with Idealist Consulting, and we are so pleased to have you here today to talk about memberships with Predictive Response and Click and Pledge. So before we get started, I want to just get a couple of logistical items out of the way. First, in housekeeping, you can use the questions feature to ask questions through your toolbar, and we will address them at the end of the webinar. We know your time is valuable, so we've scheduled the webinar to be about 45 minutes, and we are happy to answer as many questions as time allows. Also, for audio, you will not need a mic for this webinar since you're automatically muted to improve audio quality, but if we have an issue, we'll address that publicly. And we will be sending the slide deck as well as recordings after the webinar to all registrants. So with that, let's do some introductions. All right, so once again, my name's Kirsten Kippen. I'm the marketing manager with Idealist Consulting, and we are based out of Portland, Oregon. Idealist Consulting works primarily with nonprofits and small businesses to implement Salesforce, and most of us have also worked at nonprofits ourselves. So with that, I will let Seth introduce himself.
Hi, this is Seth Goddard. I'm the VP for Business Development here at Predictive Response. I've worked for many years in technology with Salesforce as well as in the nonprofit space as a Director of Communications and responsible for technology. So I'm excited to take the Predictive Response solution and help bring it to more nonprofits.
Hi, my name is Karen Arrivillaga, and I am the Marketing Communications Director here at Click and Pledge. We're very excited to be a part of this demonstration today. Click and Pledge is a software and payment processing company for nonprofit organizations, and then we are also integrated with Salesforce, and that's why we're here today.
All right, thank you so much. So we have just a few kind of high-level things to say about what we're going to address today before we dig into the demo. So first of all, I wanted to give just a quick introduction to what our membership solution kit is. So an Idealist solution kit is a bundle of vetted solutions that are taken from the App Exchange. And we've worked with a number of memberships organizations and started noticing that there was a common process for many of them that could really be facilitated more efficiently through combining apps in Salesforce. We have a number of different solution kits for various organizations, and the membership solution kit in particular includes ways to facilitate communication and payment processing so that you can avoid portal fees and increase member engagement. So that's a mouthful, but we will be kind of digging into various pieces of this throughout the presentation today. And today we will be highlighting Salesforce, of course, as well as Click and Pledge and Predictive Response. And form assembly is also a piece of this that we won't show in too much detail, but you can just keep in mind that that's on the back end as well. Okay, so there are generally three ways to support your membership management needs. There's a membership application, a native Salesforce build-out, and a form submission model. And we generally characterize these into two different types, which are login-based and email notification-based. So first, the login-based approach. We call this the go-to-the-mountain approach because it requires your members to get a login and access the portal themselves. Often, organizations will prefer this because it gives the appearance of controllable access to your constituents. And the other approach is an email notification-driven approach. And you can think of this as us or your organization bringing them out into your constituents. And this is the model we're highlighting in our webinar today. So with this model, your members will get renewal requests or address update notifications by email and respond directly. No login is required. They don't have to go through a portal. And the thing to know about this is that it's far cheaper. So a lot of organizations might initially be turned off by it because it gives the appearance of less control to your members. We've heard from people that they want to be able to push out that portal and login access. But when you look at it from the member's perspective, it's important to think, like, are they really going to remember a login URL if they only have to make updates a few times a year and they don't know when that needs to happen? So that's why we're strong proponents of this more email notification-driven process. And it's also far cheaper. So typically there's at least a 50% savings compared to the CRM membership application model. Okay, so this next slide is what the membership process looks like, and this is more detailed than we'll cover today, but it's a technical architecture of what is going to occur, which maybe some of you admins out there can appreciate. So this probably looks familiar to anyone who has managed memberships before. You'll see it starts with the email campaign and then draws directly down into a membership form. There's a form response. There's a duplicate detection process through Salesforce, and then records are created, the application is processed, the payment is processed, and the membership is updated. So what I want to highlight with this is that all of this is integrated within Salesforce solutions that talk to each other through API calls. And through our membership solution kit, you'll have the option to customize the messaging and branding at each step so that it really is obviously from your organization. So at this point, I am going to go ahead and turn it over to Seth and Karen to show you more about how this looks in Predictive Response and Click and Pledge.
All right, thank you very much, Kirsten. I am now going to walk through a little bit about how this system works using the two solutions. And if I could just get the screen. I see somebody's clicking. Thank you very much. Okay, so the solution that we're going to look at is in response to a challenge, which we've noticed many of our clients have had before installing our systems, which is that there is a lot of work involved with managing your members. And the question that a lot of our clients face is, do they want their staff to be spending time managing data or interacting with members? And we think they should interact with their members more. And so we've come up with a way to automate a lot of the time that occurs in managing members and campaigns and emails. So what you'll see is how we're going to automate these items, running reports, updating campaigns, entering gifts, all of these things that take staff time. And so the membership kit brings together the payment platform as well as the automation and email platforms of Click and Pledge and Predictive Response. Click and Pledge is the nonprofit industry's fastest growing software provider. We're really pleased to be working with them. At Predictive Response, we've been around for a while building an amazing app suite for the Salesforce platform. We work solely with the Salesforce platform, so our automation and our email systems are built for Salesforce users. So we're going to go through two different scenarios today. The first one is how we automatically activate an existing contact and make them part of a donation or membership campaign. It's pretty simple in that you have a supporter that you've identified as being ready to be solicited. We're going to go ahead and solicit them, and we'll see how they move through the campaign, and then most importantly how a drip campaign actually gets turned off. We find that members are really happy when you receive a donation from them and then you don't ask immediately afterwards for a donation as if you didn't realize that they just gave. And then the second scenario is that we're going to work on the renewal campaign. So in that case, you'll see date literals triggering the renewal campaign. So when someone's membership is about to expire, you can automatically trigger the drip campaign that goes out to ask them to renew. Again, that's usually something that a staff person might have to run a report to figure out when our membership campaign is ending, and then add those people to a campaign and then send that email. In this case, we're going to automate that. Okay, so now if you can pass me this screen as well, then I will go ahead and walk us through these two scenarios. Okay, so here we are. We have a Salesforce instance where you can see we have an existing contact. Mr. Hunter Pence is in our system, is a pretty new contact. They've never donated. And so in this case, we're going to go ahead and just update their record to say that we're ready to solicit this person for a donation or a membership. And so then what that does is that automatically gets them into a campaign for a new prospect drip. Here you can see that they now have been added to that drip. you can see the first email has come in because we have decided that in this case, anyone who meets the criteria, which we established here in a campaign flow, to add new prospects to the drip campaign, anyone who meets the criteria that has an email, they haven't opted out, they've never given, and now we've decided that they're ready to receive a solicitation, then they automatically get put into that campaign, and in this case, they're sent their email. And so now I'm going to go ahead and, so that's campaign flow working as well as the adaptive mailer. So campaign flow added them to the campaign, and the adaptive mailer sent the email. So now we're going to go ahead and click and make a donation for this person. And here you can see that we're going to donate $100. This is a click and pledge form that's been filled out and ready to donate. Okay, so the donation has been made, and now our contact will be updated as well as their donation is attached to their record. And at that point, we should also notice that their campaign history will also change. So here we can see that initially they were part of a new prospect drip, but now that the donation has been made, we should see that that drip has been turned off. So now that they are set to completed, we will not send them future requests because we can see that the donation has come in. We can see that Click and Pledge has sent our receipt saying thank you very much for your donation. And we can also see that in this case, we've decided that anyone who becomes a member will also get the monthly member newsletter. So again, this is part of campaign flow, taking a look at the value that the contact has and recognizing that this person is ready to receive a newsletter. And now we did not instantly send that newsletter because that's the type of communication that you often like to schedule. You know, they did just receive the receipt. You don't necessarily want to inundate them with the email. But in this case, what we want to do is we've decided we're going to overwrite that schedule. And so I'm going to show you quickly how it is that Predictive Response with the adaptive mailer sends an email. So you can see from the campaign page, I clicked on the August newsletter edition. It's already been designed, it's been tested, and so now I'm actually ready to send it. I'm going to overwrite our schedule. We currently have a schedule where this email is set to start at 2 o'clock, but I've decided that I just want to send it now. So I'm going to go ahead and overwrite that schedule, click Send Now, and the email is sent to the recipients that have come in since the last send. And now you can see the August newsletter has in fact come in. And here it is, and you know, there's links in here. You can click to learn more about whatever the information is in that newsletter. And so now what we want to do is go ahead and take a look at that contact once more and see where we are with our campaign history. Right, we've got these 3 campaigns that Campaign Flow has already automatically moved them into. And now what we're ready to do is we're ready to actually renew a membership. So if you can all just bear with me here and flash forward 11 months from now, and the membership end date is something that's critical to membership renewals. And so in this case, what I'm going to do is manually change this end date to be some time within the next 30 days. Because we have a campaign flow already established that says anybody who has a membership end date that is within the next 30 days, well, they should be added to a renewal campaign. Because that's, again, something where your staff time could be spending, your staff could be spending a lot of time trying to figure out who's about to expire and then making sure that they are in the right campaign to renew. And so in this case, you can see Mr. Hunter Pence has been added to the 2014 renewal drip because, again, his end date is within the next 30 days. And just to show you quickly exactly how we did that, we'll take a quick look at the campaign flow, which again sits here on top of the campaign itself. It's a related object. So add members who expire in 30 days. What we've done is we've simply looked at anybody with a membership end date within the next, in this case, 30 days. You could change this to 60 or 90. They should receive that renewal. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to pass this over to an event. So you can imagine Mr. Hunter Pence has received this renewal request, and Hunter Pence is actually going to an event where we can do a mobile donation using the Click and Pledge Swiper One app. So I'm going to pass this over to Karen, who is ready to
standing by.
Donation. Standing by. Okay. I'm going to pass this to you.
Wonderful. Hold on one second. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Wonderful. Hi, everyone. So with Click and Pledge, we have a handful of products that you can use to automatically accept a donation and push it into Salesforce. One of those you did see, it was our Open API form that Seth used for the first donation, and then this one is our Swiper One product. This is the ability to accept credit cards through your mobile device. We have an application that is on Google Play or the App Store that you can download. When you're a Click and Pledge customer, you just have to have a retail account and you can go ahead and sign in. You can also purchase the Swiper device itself through us. So like Seth said, let's pretend that we're at the event. I've got Hunter Pence standing right in front of me, and he wants to go ahead and submit his membership payment to me through the Swiper. So I'll just click New Transaction. One of the features of our Swiper product is the ability to have a custom catalog or list of products that you can sell. And so what I've done is go ahead and set up different membership levels since I knew that people were going to be paying for their memberships at this event. As I set up these membership levels, I also used campaigns, and so I labeled each one of these memberships with its own campaign that is going to be connected with Salesforce. That way, once this transaction goes through, it will automatically put this person in that campaign. And so let's go ahead and select this year one membership for Hunter Pence at $250. When I come here, I can just simply select Add to Cart. And then I'm going to go check my cart, make sure that everything looks good, ask him if this is what he wants to purchase, if there's anything else. At this point, if he wanted to give an additional donation, I can accept that as well. But he's happy with just with his membership, so I'm going to go ahead and click the checkout button. And then this is going to bring us to the actual swipe area. At this point, I can actually use this as a virtual terminal. I can simply enter in the information manually and then process the payment if I wanted to. One of the benefits about Click and Pledge is that we don't charge extra for manual or virtual terminal payments. However, I do have the Swiper plugged into my phone, so I'm going to hit Start Swiper. That's going to start the swipe device. I have a test card with Hunter Pence's information on it. And then, boom, just like that, that'll bring that information into my swipe into our Swiper One account so I can make that transaction. I've got his first name, last name, the card number. We do not keep that information, but you will be able to see that it goes in there, and then we've got that expiration date. As I scroll down, you can see that we have an area to add in an email address for a receipt. One thing to know is that, and one of the features about our Swiper One is the contact lookup area with Salesforce. If you have Salesforce and you have this option turned on, you can just come down here and click Contact Lookup in Salesforce. And what that is going to do, it's going to go to your Salesforce instance and look up any person that might match based on first name and last name with this person that did the transaction. And so you can actually see that we have Hunter Pence already in Salesforce, like Seth had showed you. So I can come here, select this contact. It'll automatically populate that email address there, and more importantly, automatically take this transaction and put it to the contact record in Salesforce for you. And so you don't have to go through any of the contact matching that we have with our system. And so this is great. This is just one of the little features that we have between our Swiper and our Salesforce integration. And so at this point, I will just finish the payment by clicking the next button. It would have me verify the contact information, and I would hit OK. And we will actually send you the information that we collect through this transaction, minus that credit card number. So first name, last name, email address. We'll let you know when the transaction occurred, how much the transaction was for, so you will be able to report on it within Salesforce. And so at this time, let me hand this back over to Seth So he's going to show you what happens when this information does hit Salesforce. And so let me go ahead and change over to Seth. Yes. All right, Seth, did you get the little pop-up? And I don't hear you.
Can you see my screen?
I can see your screen, and I can hear you. Wonderful.
Okay, great. I'm back. Here we are. So now let's take a look at Mr. Hunter Pence, who renews his membership. We can see that he was in the renewal campaign. And now let's go ahead and simply reload. We can see that receipts have come in. And so now his renewal campaign is completed, as was the prospect drip. And we can see that because he renewed his membership, we've also decided to add him to an event, direct mail, as well as, since he's a repeat donor, we've added him to a phone list because at some point you realize that when your staff are not spending time running reports and managing campaigns in Salesforce, they could actually be speaking with your members or with your prospective members and spending more time with them and getting to know them on a human level. So that's really the solution that we have displayed for you today, which is how to automate a lot of this process so that you can spend more time with people and not with data. And at this point, I'm actually ready to pass the back to Kirsten and Idealist. I think we're going to get ready for some questions. So if you have any, please go ahead and start putting them in. And Kirsten, please take it away.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think we have just a quick recap of what we just went through here.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so automation, that's the key. We find that campaign flow sort of changes everything, where all these items that used to be manual are now automated with the click and pledge ability to bring donations directly into the nonprofit starter pack, directly right into Salesforce. That is then the key to activating all the automation for us. So we're really pleased with everything we've been able to share with you as part of the membership kit. We're ready for some Q&A.
Okay, excellent. So I'm sure people are going to be adding some questions here, and I see them coming in already. But one question that that occurred to us actually as we were building this was just, what is the trigger for the whole process? And I wonder if you could speak briefly to that, Seth.
Sure. Well, the trigger for the whole process is Salesforce. So one of the reasons why we were excited to partner with Click and Pledge was that both of our companies have really built our solutions on the platform to do a really solid integration there. So for us, the trigger in this case was the memberships, number of memberships, value of memberships, whether or not someone has a membership. Those were all the things that Campaign Flow could look at and then automatically move someone into their prospective campaign. Also, another feature is the date literals, so the ability to actually schedule a campaign flow. It's something we obviously can't see during a live demo, but we do have the ability to simply click schedule, and Campaign Flow will check the date, the expiration date of anyone's membership every morning at 10 a.m. And so if anyone, every day a membership date is different. So if someone meets that date criteria, they will automatically be added into the campaign. So really for us, the common trigger is the Salesforce platform. So I think I hope that answers that.
That's great. Yeah, and I think you said something yesterday in our dry run about how Salesforce is a CRM or a constituent manager, and through these solutions, it actually becomes a membership manager. So, as you've seen with so many other Salesforce examples, probably this is a way to take existing infrastructure and kind of hack it or customize it to make it work more for your nonprofit process.
Yeah, I agree. I think we've slightly passed the level of hacking.
Sorry, I meant that in a positive way.
No, totally. I think that it's just a way to take your CRM and really bring it to the next level. And it's no longer just a repository for data, but it becomes this this tool for marketing, for communications and donations.
Absolutely. So I'm seeing a couple questions coming in through the panel here, so keep them coming, and maybe we'll start here with a question from Buffy. With the newsletter, are you able to determine which articles a contact accesses and for how long?
Are you able to determine which articles a contact accesses? So I think I understand the question, which is we do have click tracking, we have click-throughs analysis, and we also have live web tracking. So if someone is actively clicking, if someone actively clicks on your newsletter, comes to your website, we can notify you actually in real time if that's something you want, or you can simply look at the contact's record and you'll see their activity history, as well as run a report and on email history. So you could see which click-throughs are the most popular for a newsletter, or how many newsletters were sent hour by hour, how many were opened and clicked hour by hour. That's part of our email history analytics. So that's built into to the system in addition to the live web tracking.
That's great. And do you want to show that at all, Seth? Or
sure.
Okay.
Sure,
we have a little extra time, so we might as well
okay.
just see what it looks like. Let me make you presenter here again. And then we do have some other questions that we'll come back to as well.
Okay. So you can see we're still on Hunter Pence here, and because I had clicked from the email, from the newsletter email, you can see, I clicked on links that came to our predictive website because we have our tracking there. And obviously for your organization, you'd simply put the tracking code on your site. And so you can see here that this person clicked and visited these web pages. You can also see that they were redirected to the membership donation form, which was off of our site. So that's one aspect of the analytics that you'll see. You can also see on the newsletter itself, you'll see the analytics of what % have been sent, because in some cases emails won't be sent if they're duplicates or if they bounced before, what the percentage of open and click rates are, and then you'll see the email history by hour of how many were sent and opened and clicked. So that's part of the, here again are the specific URLs. So I think hopefully that answers your question of, how do you see what is being clicked in a newsletter.
Yeah, that's very helpful. Thank you. And
actually, just since I've got this, we also have a canned report, so you can see overall over the last 7 days, for instance, how many were sent, opened, and clicked of which email. So all of that's available to you if you want to, keep track of what's being sent and opened and clicked and what's getting the highest rate. You have that data available for you inside of Salesforce. Again, part of our goal is to build on top of this really robust platform that continues to be recognized as being an extremely powerful business and organization tool.
Great. Thanks, Seth.
Mm-hmm.
So we had another question come in from Maddie about direct mail campaigns, and I'll go through this and you can let us know if this is in scope or not for this particular presentation. But she's saying we also use direct mail campaigns. Obviously, if a donation comes via check, we will enter it manually. Can these donations also trigger campaign flow? And a secondary piece is if we don't have the email address for a donor, can campaign flow trigger follow-up reminders for staff?
Yes. Yes and yes. So what campaign flow is looking at is simply the value that's here. It looks at any data value that's on your contact or lead record. So if anything changes here, no matter how it gets changed, whether it's changed through a web form, whether it's changed manually, that's what will trigger it to go into action. And so if someone doesn't have an email address, that could also be a campaign flow. So you could simply say, okay, let's create a campaign, an internal campaign, and any contact record that has an email address of null, or doesn't include an @ sign, for instance, go ahead and add them to the campaign. and that will automatically put them into that campaign. And by the same token, you could keep track of how many people then would get email addresses. So you could complete them in that campaign. So that way, internally, your staff would see a list of everybody who remains without an email address, and you could target those people via phone or however it is that you want to get in touch with them. So I think, does that answer do you feel like that answers the question?
And Seth, I actually can add to that as well.
Mm-hmm. Go for it.
Within Click and Pledge itself, if you are using Click and Pledge, we do have the ability to run donations of like custom payment types, so check and or cash, and so to make sure that that information is going into your contacts. And so you can actually, in our virtual terminal that's in our integration with Salesforce, you can accept those types of payments and associate campaigns with those. And so if you do want to add them to the same campaign, say that is on an actual donation page, event page, or what have you, you can do that through our virtual terminal as well.
Super, thank you both. And there was a comment back from Maddie that does answer the question. So she says yes. So yeah, I think that was on target. That's great, and good to hear a little bit more about campaign flow as well. Mm-hmm. So so we have a few more minutes if people want to be asking more questions here. But I know a question that we're going to get at some point is about cost. So I wonder if you could each just speak briefly to pricing, and then I can kind of talk about it from Idealist perspective as well.
Sure. You know, the pricing for us is we have everything listed on our website. The adaptive mailer we charge simply by the amount of mail that you're going to send, and then all the pricing that you see on our website for the adaptive mailer, just take 30% off for nonprofits, and that's, you know, something to keep in mind. But again, we just charge based on how many emails you're going to send. Obviously, the more you send, the lower the cost becomes, you know, relative. And then campaign flow is a site-wide, both are site-wide licenses. So something to keep in mind about the adaptive mailer and campaign flow is all your users have access to it. There's no, as long as they're a Salesforce user. You know, if it's a Chatter user, no, you can't. But if it's a Salesforce user, then you have access to automate your system and run your campaigns. And so what we look at here for campaign flow, the pricing here, if you're a nonprofit, take 50% off the price that you see for campaign flow. And, you know, so you're looking at, let's say, $75 a month for the average nonprofit starter pack that's running, you know, with 10 free licenses. You would then have $75 added to that to automate. And we find that, and we've heard from some clients that they're saving 2 to 3 hours a day because all of that campaign reporting and adding is done. It doesn't, you don't have to have staff time being put towards that. So that's one thing to keep in mind as you budget. You may be able to move staff time towards other things like managing the events and talking with the donors and the members. That's so critical for mission-oriented orgs. But again, all this is available on the pricing page from our website.
All right. And a little bit about Click and Pledge pricing. Seth, I don't know if you want to go to our website or not. Sure. I can point you in the right place.
How much is it? Is it this one?
There you go. Great, and scroll down just a little bit. So the way that Click and Pledge works, we do things a little bit different. We're going to actually give you all of our fundraising tools and products for free, and we only charge the credit card processing fees associated with online transactions and maintaining a merchant bank account. And so our processing fees, we have one that is 3.5%, 35 cents per transaction, and then a $20 a month fee. Now, the great thing is that if you are an Idealist Consulting customer, they're actually one of our preferred partners, as well as Predictive Response. And so you can actually sign up for Click and Pledge through them and actually get a discounted rate for us. And so that's a great thing. If you're a customer of theirs, you do have that option to sign up with us. All right, Seth?
Yep. Thank you.
Super. Thank you both. And just to speak briefly to the Idealist Consulting piece of it, as I mentioned at the beginning, we do offer all of this as a solution kit. And so I know a lot of you might already be either Predictive Response or Click and Pledge customers. And some of you also might be using a different email platform. And we can build this solution kit with different email platforms. But we found that Predictive Response really serves some of the campaign needs the best. And so, we scope this out individually for each organization, and I think on average it's around 50 hours for customizing all of the branding and workflow pieces for your organization. But again, you can reach out to us directly to discuss what that would look like for your org. So there is one other question that came in, and we do have a few more minutes. So this was a question again about Predictive Response specifically. Do you design emails directly through Predictive Response? Do you need additional software? How user-friendly is email design?
I think it's really friendly. Let's just, and I'll show you how we do it. So you do design it directly through Predictive Response. So you can see here's our email additions. Here's the initial ask. You simply edit the email edition that's associated with the campaign, and you'll come into Design and WYSIWYG Editor. So we do have email templates as well that you could use, but this is your standard WYSIWYG Editor for HTML. You can also upload. So if you have an existing template, you can save it and then simply reuse it over and over again once you have it uploaded, then you just insert it. You have access to merge fields, and you can also get access directly to the HTML itself. So if you have a template in HTML, just copy and paste it in here, and then it will appear here. And then every time you create a new edition within the same campaign, it will simply take the previous edition's design and bring it over. So if this was a second edition, all I had to do was change this content here and maybe upload a different banner, then that's all I would have to do. And then again, you can upload images through here, and your standard HTML formatting and clicking links and whatnot. So I hope that that answers that question about the editor. And then once you've designed it, you then test by sending it to yourself, or you send it to your internal test group. So you may have, let's say, 4 or 5 people within your organization that need to see every email before it goes out. You can make them part of a test group and send it to them. There's also A/B testing, which allows you to get the best subject line possible. So you can test a sample size, and whichever subject line proves to be the one that it gets opened most, you can either manually or automatically have the system just take that one that performs the best and use that for the remainder of your send. Our insight is a way where you can take a look at how your email will appear in different browsers and different platforms, the iPhone, etc. And so that's another feature that is part of our system. And then you simply go over to send, and then you click Send Now. The settings here, this simply allows you to schedule it. So in this case, we decided that this email should be sent early in the morning and then not on the weekends, and it's being sent from the named sender. You could also have it sent from the contact owner if that's something that you want. And that's it. You just click Send Now, and it's already been sent, so I'm not going to do that. But there you have it.
Super. Thanks, Seth. A little demo in 5 minutes there. I like it.
Right.
So I think that actually is just about all that one more question came in. All right, we'll keep it going here. So let's see, another question about Predictive Response. Wondering if the Predictive Response emails can get posted to social media. It's from someone who currently has vertical response, and they can have those posted automatically. When they have a newsletter, it posts to Twitter and Facebook.
Automatically post, I mean the fact that you have an email gets automatically posted to Twitter? Like when you hit send, let me see if I understand the question. When you hit send, it automatically posts the fact that the email or the content.
I'm guessing it's like a PDF, it looks like, is what she's referring to. So, you know, there's like a PDF of a newsletter that can go through social media too.
Right. There is a web version of the email that it's automatically created, which could be posted to Twitter. We currently don't have the functionality where you'd click send now and instantly Twitter would know. That's certainly something that sounds intriguing, and maybe we should add that to our list. But I know that we do have a web-based version of it, which you could then share with everybody. So that may be a solution that would at least give you the ability to send via social media the fact that this information is now publicly available.
Got it. Okay. Perfect. All right. So, okay, she's saying perfect. That sounds like something we could do. All right. Good stuff, Maddie. So with that, I think we are actually going to wrap things up here. So I'm going to just take the presentership back here.
Yep.
And we just have one more slide here with resources. Again, this is just the links to all of the pages that we just looked at, except for the demo, of course. But this gives you just the basic info for each of our various services. And again, I'll be posting the slide deck after we wrap up today and sending out the recording to all registrants as well, including anyone who wasn't able to join today if you had any colleagues that was the case for. So thank you everyone for joining, and thank you Seth and Karen for being great presenters for us today, and we'll wrap it up there. Bye-bye.
Thank you.